Hello Chibsers, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Let's hotch into position here. Just a quick one. I've done a video just now on the, in fact they're still almost here, the little green men, jelly babies. If you watched the first video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I've got these under everything else. I've got three little bags, Gav, of 4 figures a piece from Empress Miniatures, one of my go-to figure manufacturers. So these are 28mm, they are metal, they're made by a British company called Empress Miniatures. I have no connection to these people. Oh, do you think they'd be connected with this channel and with this head? No. Don't blame them one little bit. So I bought these myself. I'm buying them to sell? Yeah, I'm selling them when I've completed. I fancied painting some World War II stuff, and when I decided to do it, it was coming up to Christmas. I thought it was a bit late now, mainly because of postage and all the rest of it. So I've had a quick look at them already, although without my reading bins on. So they look really good from without these on. And they're probably going to look a lot better under the camera. So let's go down to the bench and take a look. These are, by the way, I should have said, I've got 2 packets of World War II late war Germans, Volksgrenadiers, that's the People's Grenadiers. Name changed by the Germans. I'm going to shoot myself down here. I don't know if it was 43 or 44, but they had to do a massive reorganisation from the armour to everything had to be reorganised. Basically what they were doing were making more divisions by shrinking the existing divisions, which is never a good thing. You know, there's no point making lots and lots of divisions if you're going to make them smaller, and most of these didn't have like even wheeled transport. A lot of the guns were still pulled by horses. A lot of the supplies still came by horse-drawn transport. They normally have a small assault gun platoon, company, whatever, attached to the division. I'm just plucking things out of a busted head here from memory, but again, you're making divisions, Volksgrenadier divisions up of ex-Luftwaffe personnel, ex-naval personnel, kids as usual, heighten the age range, pulling old boys like me in. It's funny, I'd have got about 2 miles down the road before I broke down, but you know what I mean, that they did what they could do, as in the individuals. They fought obviously on the Bulge, obviously both sides, on the east, on the west. I'm not sure if any Volksgrenadier divisions were in Italy, which is one of my favourite places, so I should know really, shouldn't I? But no, I can't remember. But yeah, it was to try and instill an honorific title on a division, to give it more esprit de corps and show the people, you know, the Volksgrenadier divisions are the people's soldiers fighting for them. I don't think it really passed muster with the guys that actually had to do the fighting. But beautiful figures. I've seen them obviously a fair amount of times when I've visited Empress for Vietnam figures and stuff like that. And I've also got a packet of American GIs, basic infantry, 30 cals, and they can be used for, again, late war American infantry from obviously World War II to the end of the Korean War. So yeah, let's take a look. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. If I've got mucky fingernails, I have tried to clean them, but I'm constantly working with putty and paints and that, so I apologise if that type of thing turns you off. Do not go no further in the video. So I didn't want to, like I did with the British, which I've still got some left and I will add to paint up another full unit, but I didn't want to paint a full platoon up, so I came up with a cunning plan of just doing a couple of selling them as pairs of assault, you know, MG section, or the same with the Americans. So we've got MG42, Hitler's Saw, as they called it, with its rate of fire, still being used to this day, obviously slightly modified, but it was it was probably the best, you could say, best belt-fed weapon of World War II. medium light machine gun rather than obviously the 50 cal, which has probably been going since First World War up till now, but very popular with modern armies still. Helmet cover. Obviously these lines down here are part of the cover. There will be mould lines. There always is on whether you've got plastic or metal figures. We have a mould line over the top there. In fact, let me get me pointy stick rather than we have to keep looking at my potted up fingernails. That's making little green men. 2 seconds. Right. So, yeah, so we've got a mould line over the top. This is just for your own reference. If you don't do many figures, your first figures, whatever, just so, you know, obviously you've got shininess like this, so they're always a bit hard to tell. So mould line, you'll tend to find your mould will obviously go, follow a certain path normally. It's got the anklet boots on. Obviously major leather shortages in Germany by then, so the armies that went into the west and into Barbarossa, into Greece, they're not the same uniforms anymore. You could say slightly more practical. So small normal boots that say the British would be wearing, with the same type of anklet covers that the British would be wearing. Drinking canteen, mess tins. Was it splinter cover? These would be reversible jackets. But very nice. Face. I believe these would still be painted, well, under Paul Hicks, would they? Let me just have a look. I can normally tell her. Well, in the Hicks poses. Yeah, these are Hickses. So we've got personal protection with a pistol. These supposed to be gloved hands or not? I sometimes paint them gloved or not. I'd probably have this as gloved hands. Put them in the winter or the late. Again, you could do these reversible, so you could put this in the camouflage or the white if that was your floats your boat. Again, there ain't much to go through there. Slightly bendy 42. It's white metal, it bends. You just have to. I mean, it's actually quite tough metal. I was straightening one of the stovepipes, and that was a hell of a game to straighten that without wanting to snap it. It's nice, strong metal, not too bendy. They're going to get bendy in the packaging and whatever. They come with a couple of bipods, obviously. So bipod being the rest that you can put in the ground. You get I don't think I'll pick it up. Oh, we can. A strip of ammo you could bend to your heart's content. What will happen is with the German, the design the top of the ammo container, that you would run your ammo belt across the top of it. So bear that in mind. He's got some binos, Feldmutz cap on, with the ear warmers down by the look of it. Or has he got actually? Might actually not. No, because they would be the ear warmers, wouldn't they? This top piece here. So he's got like a balaclava on, maybe. Kar 98 rifle. And again, the usual accomplishments. Got his helmet there, nice touch that. So they've got. That's why I like Empress figures. They go. Mr. Hicks, you know, he's got a flair for doing this type of stuff, and I'm not blowing smoke up his behind. He just has. And Empress have a flair of wanting dynamic poses. You are restricted sometimes with moulding. I'm going to go into the moulding process because I don't understand it that well, but you have to have certain, unless you're going to start taking arms off, which they do on some of their figures occasionally, you know, if they want a particular pose, so they're not scared of doing that. But people being people are quite often prefer solid one poses. I don't mind either way. it's still secure if you know, it's a secure hold when you pin them and whatever, or stick them down. So obviously he's carrying the spares, but if you see how that's levelled up there, that's because of when they flip her over, you can run your ammo out and across the top of that open ammo box. So that's that. I'll be doing them on. I was debating whether to do the line down figures on. I'll have to look into that on separate base. You can't really do it on separate bases because he'd be well out of the way. So these pair will probably be together on a base. That's that. We'll do the other Germans next. So I have had a brief look at them, but without glasses on these days, I'm as short-sighted as something really short-sighted. Got our number 2 here, holding the back, and that's because he's carrying the spare rockets. Let's just see. There we go. So he's carrying those. Again, all the usual bayonet on top of the entrenching tool. In a lot of fighting positions, they'd often carry the entrenching tool in the belt because it made a really nice fighting device at close quarters. We've got a good couple of potato masher grenades in there. Nice rolled up jumper there by the look of it. Again, I'm looking through a viewfinder, but no, really nice. Like those. That's that. This guy, he's got a fair amount of bending to the weapons that will need straightening out, but just be gentle. Just go in small increments. Don't yank them back because you could snap them off. As I say, it is really quite tough. I'm just wondering, I'd imagine that they've got end caps on. I don't know that much about them, but as a solid, and we've got these bits here, yeah, they look like they're end caps, so you don't have to drill out anything. Again, is it a strap or is it? Again, I'm looking with the shine back off the figures. I can't work out if that's a helmet. No, I think that's a helmet strap rather than some type of balaclava. So that's that. Very nice. Again, we've got another number 2 loader. And he'll be for this guy shooting actually in a firing pose, so that's why he's got 2 Kar 98s. They did try and make up for the lack of numbers by giving them more assault rifles rather than the old you know, Mauser, the old bolt actions. More semi-automatic weapons. He's got his rocket there. Nice greatcoat pose, folded up round the top. You often see the photographs of them in action in the Ardennes and places where obviously they've got that camouflage underneath their greatcoats, and it makes them look really bulky. And that's a lovely pose. And then we've got our firing guy. Now he's got his respirator on, or gas mask as it was known then. That's for all the fumes that would come off the backblast more than that, I believe, rather than protect his face just from the flash. Might be wrong. I say I'm no expert on this type of stuff. And he's got his shelter, Zeltbahn shelter quarter on. They'd often wear those as if they couldn't get their hands on, especially even earlier on in the war, if they couldn't get their hands on camouflage jackets, they had camouflaged shelter quarters, ponchos in British Army terminology, and they'd wear that as some camouflage. So really nice. I like the respirator on. That'll make a nice change. And yes, it has got end cap that's opened up there, which is good. So yeah, really nice. That's our Germans. We've got a lot to go on there, and that's what I love about these. I enjoy doing the late war Germans because, and it's nothing. What's that Plonker said on that video once about us all being Nazis or whatever. But it's just I I enjoy doing those just because as a painter I enjoy the variety I can get out of them. So we've got our 30 cals again. Somewhere in here we should have bipods. Yeah, we've got, I won't bother showing you, but there's bipods here. We've got 30 cals. By then we've got carrying handles on them, and they put a butt on them. Obviously the first 30 cals that the Americans were using just had the normal like pistol grip, but they soon realised that they could use it with a butt and carrying handle and stuff on. Be obviously compared to the Germans, it'll be a fairly plain uniform. When I say plain, as in you won't be able to have that many differences, but they normally, if the Vietnam figures are anything to go by and the World War II British, there'll be a lot of differences between the figures with just different pieces, like helmet covers and stuff. I would say to anybody, don't be afraid of metal figures. They've been around for a long time, and just because they've been around for a long time, don't dismiss them as, it's all plastic now. I don't mind plastic, metal, resin. I'll work with anything, it doesn't really faze me, but I do find that still at the moment plastic figures have got a softness to them, whereas metal figures, you do have that, you can get that more depth to them in the sculpt itself. The only thing I'd say with metal figures is obviously they can chip, whereas your plastic figures, the acrylic tends to stick to them a lot better, whereas metal figures, if you give them a knock, even though they've got varnish on, you will sometimes end up with a little diamond showing. He's got his cap comforter on underneath. I always thought that was a good bit of kit, that. Even in my day we were using a blooming balaclava, rolled up balaclava that could be used as either a neck or head and that, but it wasn't, used to scratch you to hell. I used to hate. I'd go cold rather than wearing it if I had the choice. But again, 30 cal. Put a nice little divot in the bottom so you don't really have to drill out if you don't want to. I don't think it really, with that there, I don't think you'd need to bother. So he got a, I don't know enough about American uniforms, but he looked like he got a hooded, is that a hooded jacket? It appeared to be. I'll have to go looking up. I don't have really any references on, well, I do actually have an old 1980s black and white photographs of real, they did it at the Ordnance Department or whatever, of taking pictures of soldiers in different parts of uniforms for reference for themselves back in the war. But it's not the same as like looking at a colour image. So they got the Garant. Probably put those as gloves. I don't know if they're meant to be or not. But again, and again, cleaning figures, all you need to clean these mould lines off. Scalpel. This is a Swan Morton one. I do have other makes. I won't do it under the thingy, but again, just lightly, if you see a mould line, and I'm struggling too with the shine, you just scrape it, and then you get your metal file, and if there's still any removing, or you don't want to scrape a flat surface, so I then go over it with a flat file, and then I will sometimes polish them up with a depending. These would be hard to polish because there's too many bits to catch, but sometimes I will buff them up if they need it. But you don't. That's going too far, really. Just a scalpel, a metal file. The little ones, they sell them in packs, little metal files. I use the diamond files, they last longer, they don't impact as much. Yeah, I wouldn't be scared if, there's no difference to working with a metal figure than working with a plastic one. Difference being, obviously, plastic ones, you can get some variety in posability, but when you've got figures like what Paul Hicks does as a sculptor, you know what I mean, you don't really need to change posability. There's enough there to more than enough, you know. So yeah, just needed to show those before I started filing and demold lining, and I shall add my one lonely AB Prussian figure for my first regiment for my own collection. I need to take this off and put a metal wire pole, and then try and here we go again. Try and oh no, I'm doing this one as a colour. Yeah, so although this is a sergeant with a spittoon, it's going to be turned into a colour bearer. Still sergeant, but as a colour bearer. So I was waiting for these to come through so I could do them all in one go. Get the Dremel ain't going to be needed on the big figures really, but yeah, there we go. I'm digressing again. So look after yourselves. Hope that was of interest to anybody who was thinking of buying these figures. I think they're excellent. No, as I say, yet again, no connection with Empress whatsoever. So, you know, I'm calling it as I see it. You know, around like these ammo tins here, need a bit of a flat file on there, but not a great deal. There's a very slight chunk out of there. I'm not overly fussed on that. Soften that up with a bit of a filing. But yeah, always, I mean, these are £8, I believe, £8 for 4. They're not cheap as some of the ones out there, but I really think you get what you pay for to a degree. You know, there's some others out there that aren't as expensive, or you get 2 extra figures that are just as well sculpted in that. But I like these, as in the ones that I've got from Empress so far. A while ago, before I started the channel, I did do very, very badly some of my first figures, some of their Zulu War range, and I will be returning to those at some stage because I really like them. My own regiment was in the Zulu Wars, but yeah, I think they're excellent figures. As I say, you get what you pay for. If you think they're too expensive, then save your pennies up for an extra month and then buy them, because they're well worth it. I know it's hard times out there, but sometimes cheap isn't always the best. Again, it depends what you want, but I like to think that if somebody buys a figure off me, they've bought a well painted figure, well, as good as I can paint them, and a well sculpted figure, if that makes sense. You know, you've got hopefully everything in the package. You've got a really dynamic pose, excellent casting, and obviously hopefully I do it justice with my paintbrush. There you go. And hopefully you do too. I don't mean me, I mean as in when you do them. So look after yourselves. I've been waiting for these to come, so I'll be getting on these. Yes, I know I've got a load of other stuff to do, but these are for sale. And I can get this last AB figure. Again, excellent. I buy these for a reason, because they're really well sculpted. Yeah. So look after yourselves. Videos coming up. There'll be some my little Games Workshop figures are almost complete, the first 4. I've got some modelling stuff to come. We'll say we're finally going to be getting a Big Vince video done, I believe. Big Vince HMS Invincible. We'll be doing one of those hopefully tomorrow. My wife's works goes to, she has to work from home now, but once a week she goes further afield to another office. So on that day I shall do at least a couple of 3 hours of modelling on the Big Vince, and we'll have a look at that. So thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.